How will your retirement change if markets don't do as well as they've done in the past? Check this out. Many of you know Vanguard. Vanguard put out a study and they talk about the expectations for stock market returns. And they go on to say in the most recent survey, the average expected 1-year returns were roughly 5% and the expected 10-year returns were 6%, both of which are lower than the annualized return of the past 30 years. Why is this important? Well, when we're talking about lifetime income in retirement, if you're basing your portfolio off of 8, 9, 10% returns, which things like the S&P 500 have certainly done, but if they don't actually perform that way going into the future, that could throw off your retirement. So we want to make sure we're conservative in our planning so you don't run out of money, but we don't want to be so conservative and so unrealistic that you're 80 years old with $5 million mad at me because you're going, Ari, why didn't you tell me I could have spent more when I had my energy and I had my health? I don't want to run out of money, but I don't have too much money. That's my job, is to show you how to balance that effectively. And that's what I'm going to do today. My name is Ari Taublieb. I'm a certified financial planner. I'm the host of the Early Retirement Podcast, and I'm the vice president at Root Financial Partners. If you're looking for more guidance so you can retire early one day with confidence, and you like learning about tax strategy and estate planning and health insurance and long-term care and how to invest well, how to talk to your parents and friends about finances, you're in the right spot, and I invite you to subscribe. If those topics sound miserable to you, don't subscribe. You're not going to like me. I could just talk theory at you guys for 20 minutes, but you're going to fall asleep and you're not going to like me even more. So what I'm going to do instead is show you a real case study so you can think about how to plan for your retirement if markets don't do well and if they happen to do better than you expect. Think about it like inheritance. I want you to plan on not having inheritance there, but if it is there, how does that impact the plan? So I'll say, hey, let's plan on having X return. And if it doesn't do that well, great. You're still going to be able to retire. Or if it does really well, this is what it might mean for your retirement. So let's meet this person. This person is 54 years old. This is a real case study. If you want to play around with the software I'm about to show you, so in real time, you want to update with your own numbers, you can go ahead and do so and enroll in my Early Retirement Academy. Let me be crystal clear. There's no one-on-one guidance. It's a one-time cost, no subscription. You get it. You get access to the software. You get videos. You get these flow charts. You get lots of cool things that help you optimize. And it's a few $100 for a reason. This is just there to make sure you get to kind of build your own plan and see what you're on track for. So feel free to follow along and use the numbers on your own screen. So let's go back and meet this person. So in terms of what he's working with from investment perspective, you can see he's 54. He has $1.6 million. It's all in his 401k. He has no superhero account, which is called a brokerage account. He has no Roth IRA, no traditional IRA, nothing. Just a 401k, which, by the way, is still plenty. Okay, you don't need these other things, just being clear. He also owns his home, free and clear, no debt. So about very simple, $2 million net worth. Whenever I say very simple, it makes it sound like very easy. Not easy to get this amount of money, but it is simple in the fact that that's what's on the screen here. So don't take simple for easy. Now, this person does not hate their job. How do I know that? I talk to them. They don't hate their job. They're thinking of retiring at 60, but they want to know what if they could retire earlier and how might that impact their plan if they did. We have some basic assumptions for healthcare and long-term care, but the important figure is they want to spend $8,000 a month. That's $96,000 a year after taxes adjusted for inflation. Now, if you guys are building your own plan in here, I don't want you to just put $8,000 a month. I want you to add it in separately. So add in college for the kids, cars, vacations, weddings. Are you going to downsize? What about buying a business? What about charitable giving? What about legacy goals? What about other goals I'm unaware of? You want to buy a boat? I want you to throw it all and get really detailed because that will give you more confidence. But for example's sake, we're going to keep it simple. So check this out. Here's what this person's on track for. If he retires at 60, he's on track. You can see he's got 1.6 million. It looks like at the end, he's going to have about $1.2 million or so. But that assumes he gets moderate growth. Remember what Vanguard said? Vanguard said, I don't think we're going to get moderate growth. So moderate growth is 7.3%. That's an average of a 60-40 portfolio. Now, On top of that, there's inflation. So when I'm planning for clients, I'll put inflation at 3%, for example. 7.3% minus 3% means the real return in the portfolio is 4.3%. Vanguard didn't specify anything with inflation. So if Vanguard is saying you could, base your retirement, if you want to be conservative, off a 5% return, what they're saying is 5% return, then you have to add in inflation after that. So they're saying 5% return and 3% inflation. That might mean a 2% real return. So let's model that out. I don't think that's going to be the case, but what if this is true and I'm wrong and returns are in the range of 5% with 3% inflation? That's really minimal growth. How would that impact this person's retirement? I'll show you right now. So all we have to do is go to asset allocation, we switch it to preservation, and we click enter. And now we get to see the magic as to what impact that would have on the plan. So what you can see here is if this person wanted to rely on that return for the rest of their retirement, 5% with inflation at 3%, so a 2% real return, you can see here they are retiring at 60 and they'd run out of money at about 84. So for some people, they go, that really scares me. That's really cutting it too close. What can I do? We have a few options. You could not spend $8,000 a month. What if this person spent $7,000 a month? That's $84,000 a year. And they got really unlucky. Well, if they got unlucky because markets did poorly, you could see they're going to make it, but to just about 89. What if this person spent $6,000 a month? Well, if they spent $6,000 a month, that's $72,000 a year. They would have about $1 million at 87, but I'm projecting they need long-term care at about $70,000 a year for the final 3 years, which would still mean there's about $500,000 left over. So you can see here, they didn't work any longer. All they did was spend less money. You might be going, I don't want to retire if I don't spend $8,000 a month. Like, I'm just not going to be able to live a life that's exciting to me. Well, then great. What you could do instead is you could work till you're 65. If you work until you're 65, look at this. You work until you're 65, you spend $8,000 a month, nearly $100,000 every year in retirement, and you can see with poor growth, you're going to be okay, but it's going to be cutting it close. So why is this important? What if we put this on balanced? So balanced is still not crazy growth, about 6%. Well, that really changes things. Now they're on track for $2.1 million. So this one little toggle here really changes the plan. What if you keep it on conservative? Conservative here, about 4% growth. You can see here, they're going to be more than okay, but they have to work till they're 65. Once again, they don't want to work till 65. So what if they work till 60? Well, now all of a sudden you can see they're cutting it close. Long-term care comes in, they're in their 80s. Maybe it's not $8,000 a month. Maybe it's $7,000 a month. So I would want you to play around with these figures, but then add in other stuff, because included in what I was showing you here is $1 million of inheritance. I know I'm evil, but what if there's no inheritance at all? No inheritance at all. That really changes things. They're still okay. But what I prefer that you guys would do is go, wait a second, what's in my control? What's out of my control? Inheritance, that's not in your control. You might want your parents to spend it down or have fun traveling with you guys and paying for trips while they're still here. So I view this as bonus money. If it's there, great, it helps, but you don't want to rely on it. So what I'd rather do is say, what's in our control? How long we work? That's in our control. Long-term care, somewhat in our control. How long we live? Not in our control. I mean, of course you can be healthy, but really it's expenses, when you retire, and how you invest. These are the three variables. Because if you say, I'm not worried about markets, I think they're going to do okay. People have been saying they're going to do poorly forever. Doesn't bother me. Well, you might be on track for $4 million at age 90. And so you might not want that. That might be too much money. So I invite you to run your own numbers and see what you're on track for. But the whole point of this video is whether Vanguard or Fidelity or Empower or T. Rowe Price thinks markets will do good or will do bad, go run your own projections and see what you're on track for. It's going to bring confidence. I view it as your MRI. See what you're on track for. Let's see. Can you make this happen? Can we not make this happen? It might give you more confidence than you think, or it might tell you where you should be saving more money and how to invest for true retirement confidence. That's it for this video. Hope it was helpful. See you guys next time.